Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be another one in the series Aesthetics Explored. Today the aesthetic I'm going to be exploring is e-girls. Or e-culture, whichever one you prefer. So let's dive right in. The most obvious question is, what is an e-girl? Well, e-girl is a term that originated on TikTok, an app where you can lip sync, roleplay, create POVs, short stories, do dances, all sorts of things, and has become home to many thriving new cultures, including one that has burst onto the scene in recent years, e-girl. As far as I was able to find out, the actual aesthetic of an e-girl originated around 2018, however it gained popularity in 2019 due to its iconic fashion and makeup and many popular TikTokers using it. There is of course the masculine side of the aesthetic, which is called an e-boy. However, because I'm a girl and I wear this fashion pretty regularly, I'm going to be focusing on the feminine side of it. The term e-girl originates from insults used for young attractive women who used things such as Twitch and Discord to stream games. The insult seems to have originally meant thought or internet slut, hence the E. However, young women who like the aesthetic have reclaimed the term, and now it heads one of the biggest aesthetics in social media today. So now onto the meat of the video, the actual aesthetic. I've heard e-girl and e-culture described as the modern emo, and as someone who used to try to be an emo, or really wanted to be an emo, and failed somewhat miserably at it, I would say that kind of sums it up. The key markers of each fashion are there, and you can clearly see the influences through layering, striped shirts, fishnets, platforms, chains. They're very similar styles. E-girl just seems to have been updated for the modern generation. Something I know I in particular love about the style is that it has lots of alternative influences from my youth that I was never able to wear or to pull off properly. It has the dark layers of emo combined with the colour of scene, the twisted cuteness of pastel goth, and huge influences, of course, from Harajuku and Lolita fashion. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to divide the e-girl aesthetic into two categories, fashion and makeup. Some people find subcategories of e-girl, like gamer and artsy. However, the fashion and makeup seems to stay fairly consistent through these. Before we move on to the actual physical aspects of the aesthetic though, I'd like to talk about some stereotypes and interests that go along with it. As I first mentioned, TikTok has become the home of the e-girl, so to speak, and carries huge associations with them, and as a result, it's one of the cliched interests of girls who wear e-girl fashion. Gaming, cosplay, anime, and strangely even art are also interests that are associated with e-culture. Some of these seem natural considering the origins of the term, however others seem to simply be considered alternative activities. There are two stereotypes I would really like to discuss, because I think they're very important to the aesthetic considering how in the public eye it is. The first is that e-girls are internet sluts, and the second is that it's not really alternative fashion. The first issue has to do with the idea of an internet slut. Can you not? This is really unhelpful. The second issue is that e-girl fashion isn't really alternative fashion, it's the mainstream idea of alternative fashion. And while it is a more mainstream aesthetic, that doesn't diminish the alternative roots that it has from things such as grunge, emo, scene, and goth. All aesthetics that feed deeply into this one. I think the idea of gatekeeping what is and what isn't alternative fashion, when this fashion and aesthetic is clearly carried by people who are not the majority and are often made fun of for it, particularly by the alternative community, is really not taking into account what alternative means. Now we're going to discuss the actual physical aspects of this aesthetic. Let's start with discussing makeup. E-girl makeup is undeniably incredibly varied and very, very creative, but it does largely consist of heavy eyeliner, lashes, lip gloss, or dark lipstick. It's really either or depending on the kind of preference you have. Heavy blush on the cheeks and nose. Eyeshadow generally consisting of warmer red and pink tones, and of course, hearts under the eyes. Obviously. As you can see today, I've done a proper full face to properly demonstrate to you what e-girl makeup looks like. I love the creativity and the variety of this makeup style, and I see people doing all sorts of things. They switch up the hearts for crosses, they do little clouds as blush, there are all sorts of exciting eyeshadow colours, ways to do your eyeliner, and even interesting ways to do your eyebrows, which is something I never thought I'd say, considering I pretty much never do my eyebrows. This is very unusual for me. Overall, I love e-girl makeup, and I think it's one of the biggest markers of the aesthetic. However, we now have the main event, fashion. The main markers of e-girl fashion are baggy tops often layered and tucked in, shorts, short skirts, fishnets, thigh-high socks, and platform shoes. The colour scheme tends towards black and white, with pastel colours, especially pink, and dark blue and dark red as accent colours. I think everyone's different, and obviously some people choose to have lighter or darker aesthetics. For shirts, oversized t-shirts such as men's shirts, mesh shirts, and tank tops are typical. Bottoms can be shorts or skater skirts, but for cold climates, skinny jeans and oversized mum jeans work as well. For footwear, it can range from platforms to chunky combat boots to those really big, chunky, oversized trainers everyone seems to be wearing. But it totally depends on personal preference and the particular colour palette you have for your e-fashion. Of course, jewellery is also a huge part of e-girl fashion. Wallet chains, necklace chains, belt chains, body chains, basically just chains. Just chains is a big part of e-girl fashion. And of course, layered necklaces, including the all-important choker, and big earrings help tie the look together. That's all the information I have for you guys, and now we're going to take a little look at my e-girl lookbook. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video as much as I enjoyed making it. This is one of my favourite aesthetics by far, and I loved getting to research it. If you guys would like to see more of the Aesthetics Explored series, please don't hesitate to subscribe or leave a thumbs up, and please leave a comment letting me know which aesthetic you'd like me to do next. Bye!